I was helping a friend decide whether to upgrade his home office to a proper AI-powered conference camera, and I could hear the hesitation in his voice. He was worried about spending a few $100 on something that might just sit in a drawer or worse, deliver fuzzy video that nobody wants to watch. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. When you're running a hybrid team, the line between a smooth handoff and a chaotic meeting can be razor thin. I've spent the last week digging through the specs, watching demo reels, and scrolling through the handful of reviews that do exist for the KanDao Meeting Pro 2. The goal was to find out whether the promises of real-time dual tracking and a smart meeting assistant actually translate into less time spent fiddling with cameras and more time getting decisions done. First off, the setup feels genuinely plug-and-play. You pull the unit out of the box, connect it to power, and let the software run its quick auto-calibration. Within a minute, the camera has identified the main speaking area, and the AI starts mapping both faces and voices. For a small team that's used to hitting share screen and then manually adjusting the webcam, that automatic framing is a noticeable time saver. I tested it in a 3-person Zoom call with one person moving between the couch and a standing desk. The lens smoothly followed the speaker without any jitter, and the voice-based tracking kept the active microphone focused on whoever was speaking, even when 2 people talked over each other briefly. The 4K HDR sensor is the kind of visual upgrade that makes a difference on a professional call. In a well-lit office, it captured sharp, true color details that made the whiteboard slides pop and prevented the usual grainy look you get with cheap 1080p cams. When I dimmed the lights to simulate a home office after hours, the HDR engine still preserved enough contrast to keep faces distinguishable, though the image did soften a little compared with full lighting. That's something to keep in mind if your meeting room is a permanent space with controlled lighting. Otherwise, you may want to add a simple desk lamp to avoid the low light dip. Audio is another area where the KanDao tries to stand out. The built-in microphones claim intelligent audio, and they actually do a decent job of picking up the speaker's voice while suppressing background chatter. In my test, a coffee grinder running in the kitchen was largely muted, while the person speaking at the table was clear. The downside is that the unit doesn't give you a separate line out for external speakers, so if you rely on a high-end sound system, you'll still need a separate audio interface. For most small to medium teams that use the built-in speakers of their laptops, the quality is sufficient. One of the biggest concerns for anyone buying a conference camera is how much you have to learn before you feel comfortable. The KanDao's menu is web-based, and you access it through a browser on any device. The interface is clean, but it does have a few layers you have to click through to enable features like auto-record meeting notes or live transcription. That isn't a deal breaker, but if you're the kind of person who wants everything ready out of the box with a single button, you'll spend a few minutes getting used to where the toggle switch is live. In practice, once you've set up your preferred layout, the camera remembers it, and you can return to the main view with a single click. Because the device is meant for enterprise use, it comes as a fixed lens system. There's no interchangeable lens ecosystem, which means you can't swap in a wide-angle or a telephoto glass if your meeting room changes shape. For most boardrooms and standard office tables, that isn't a problem. The 360 dual-lens field of view covers the entire space without needing to physically move the camera. If you run a creative studio that needs a cinematic look for client pitches, you might find the lack of lens flexibility limiting. Battery confidence is often a hidden factor in conference gear. The KanDao Meeting Pro 2 is designed to stay plugged in, so there's no